The roommate kissed the junior, only to be caught red-handed by his partner. He dismissively remarked, Xiaoyi, who would want an old and fierce Omega like you? Aside from me, if you dare to lay a hand on Shenyi, we shall part ways immediately. The roommate was convinced that Xiaoye's rugged appearance would render him undesirable to anyone. I watched as the Omega stormed out, then patted my roommate's shoulder, rising with a smile. You carry on. I shall check on sister-in-law. That evening, Xiaoyi unexpectedly entered a heat phase, his tall, muscular frame flushed with crimson. I ended the call from my roommate with one hand, saying, Brother, Su Zixuan does not fancy your type, but I do. At the birthday gathering, amidst a cacophony of shrieks and cheers, the birthday boy Shin Yi captured Su Zixuan's lips in a kiss. Their kiss deepened with fervor, culminating in an impassioned embrace. I reclined on the sofa, engrossed in my phone, and posted a moment on my social media. I had a wonderful time tonight. The accompanying image was a spontaneous selfie, artlessly framed to showcase my handsome visage alongside the two kissing in the background. Privacy settings limited visibility to just one person. After successfully posting, I chuckled and turned off my phone. I glanced at Su Zixuan, freshly separated from Shenyi, and said, Bro, impressive. 30 minutes later, the door to the private room was violently kicked open. A group of men clad in black surged in, and Xiaoyi, brimming with aggression, immediately seized Su Zixuan by the collar. You have 3 seconds to explain why you were kissing someone else. Su Zixuan was taken aback. In front of everyone, he raked his fingers through his hair, exasperated. Must you blow this out of proportion? It was just a friend's birthday. We were merely fooling around. Fooling around? Xiaoyi scoffed coldly, kicking over a table in the room, sending fruit and drinks flying in all directions. Your lips were wrapped around her, and you're telling me it was just for fun? The onlookers were stunned into silence, taken aback by his ferocity. It's my fault. Please don't blame Senior Su. Shunyi darted in front of Su Zixuan, looking pitiful as he pleaded. I knew Senior had a partner, yet I still wished for a kiss for his birthday. If you must blame someone, blame me, all right? Xiaoye's tone was blunt. Who is this worthless wretch? Do you think I won't hit you? Xiaoye. Su Zixuan pulled Shenyi behind him. Can you stop acting like a jilted lover? I told you it was a joke. Today is Xiaoyi's birthday. If you dare to hit him, we're breaking up right now. Honestly, Xiaoyi, with your age and temperament, who else would want you besides me? I sipped my juice, chuckling at the remark. Oh, don't say that, sister-in-law. There are plenty who appreciate his type. Upon hearing this, Xiaoyi turned his gaze toward me. I paused, lowering my crossed legs. Ha! If someone truly liked him, he wouldn't he be 27 or 8 and still single, Su Zixuan retorted. He may look fierce, but his temper is explosive. Honestly, I've been more than accommodating. Behind closed doors, Su Zixuan often vented to us in the dorm, complaining about Xiaoyi's penchant for younger partners. He was critical of Xiaoyi's age but relished the exclusive devotion and almost lavish material conditions that Xiaoyi provided. Xiaoyi shot a mocking glance. So, you prefer gentler types, do you? I thought he was about to unleash a torrent of violence on the men, but instead, he merely tilted his head and had a subordinate light a cigarette, taking his time to smoke. I'll let you have your way, but remember, from this day forth, do not appear before me. Otherwise, I fear I may not be able to restrain myself from killing you. Xiaoyi then turned and left with his entourage. I watched him pass by, my gaze following intently, yet he did not spare me a glance. Su Zixuan, incredulous, exclaimed, What do you mean? You're breaking up with me over this? Xiaoyi didn't look back as he quickly walked away. Su Zixuan, frustrated, kicked an empty can at his feet, cursing, Damn, putting on airs again. Calm down, I offered, handing him a bottle of green tea. Xiao Gu was just acting impulsively. It's nothing serious. Calm down? What do I have to calm down about?
Su Yisung viplit confident.
In the past, who has ever come to apologize after a fight? It's always been him. He plopped down onto the sofa. Just watch, within 3 days he'll come crawling back. This time, I let him off the hook for a week. I smiled, glancing at the teary-eyed Shenyi. Today is Shenyi's birthday, you should comfort him. I then picked up my coat to leave. I'll check on sister-in-law and say a few kind words for you. Thanks, Ruinja. Su Zixuan cursed. Damn it, if I find out who told Xiaoyi, I'll make him pay. Before exiting the private room, I turned back for one last look. Shenyi was in tears. Su Zixuan, at a loss, tried to console him. Please don't cry. I'll make him apologize later. Shenyi suddenly threw himself into Su Zixuan's arms. Su Zixuan hesitated for a moment but ultimately did not push him away. When I found Xiaoyi, he was drinking at the bar. Are you all right? I inquired. Xiaoyi didn't even glance my way. He downed a glass of rum, his Adam's apple bobbing as he succinctly uttered, "Get lost." I was slightly puzzled. "What's wrong, Xiaogo? Don't come here acting like the good guy," Xiao Yi retorted. "Anyone who can be with Su Zixuan must be of low caliber." I thought to myself that I hardly qualified as a good person. I merely wished to dig into someone else's territory. I lowered my gaze. "Xiaogo, please don't say that about me." Xiao Yi scoffed upon hearing this. He turned his head, his sharp eyes locking onto me. "I don't believe you haven't tea covered for him at some point. Do you know what it means to be birds of a feather? Those who associate with scoundrels are hardly virtuous themselves." I retrieved my phone, opening a private social media post. "This post is for your eyes only," I stated flatly. "I've long suspected that Su Zixuan and Shen Yi were entangled. Several times. I wanted to warn you, but you never paid me any mind. When I invite you out, you don't respond. It's only after you and Su Zixuan argue that you remember me as your messenger." As I spoke, Xiao Yi's expression grew increasingly stunned. "Xiaogu, you may not like me, but you cannot label me a scoundrel." I turned and walked away. Xiao Yi grabbed my arm, his demeanor flustered. "Fine, I misjudged you." I brushed his hand away. "It's all right. If you don't like me, I won't bother you again." "Xiao Yi, I never said I didn't like you," I replied. "I'm just a tool. I don't deserve a response." "You damn!" Xiao Yi exclaimed in exasperation. "All right, fine. I'll reply to you from now on." He then pulled out his phone and, right in front of me, set my WeChat to top priority. In the process, he scrolled to Su Zixuan's contact and swiftly blocked and deleted him. I watched this unfold, a smile creeping uncontrollably onto my lips. Xiao Yi had me sit with him and share a few drinks. I ordered a glass of watermelon juice. Xiao Yi raised an eyebrow, ultimately letting out a bemused scoff. "I've never seen someone so obedient." I replied, "Xiaogu, you know my health isn't great." Xiao Yi seemed to remember something, took a sip of his drink, and fell silent. Before long, 2 hours had passed. Xiao Yi collapsed onto the table, thoroughly inebriated. I propped my head up, quietly listening to his incoherent ramblings filled with expletives. Eventually, I helped him sit up, stating, "Brother, let me take you home." Xiao Yi was tall, approximately 6 feet 1 inch. His muscular frame leaned against me, radiating heat through the fabric of our clothes. I turned my head slightly, catching a faint whiff of coffee beans. Xiao Yi's complexion was flushed, and his breathing was rapid. Only then did I realize it was not an illusion. Xiao Yi was in heat. When I brought Xiao Yi home, he was already burning up, his face flushed in an unusual hue. Upon entering the room, Xiao Yi's tone shifted dramatically, becoming harsh. "You should leave at once," he commanded, subsequently disregarding my presence as he frantically rummaged through the drawers in his home. I stood by, silently observing his chaotic search, which yielded only an empty box of suppressants. The frequency with which Xiao Yi relied on these suppressants made me ponder. Had Su Zixuan never even touched him? "Are you planning to go out and purchase some?" I inquired. "At this hour, the pharmacy is likely closed," he replied, panting as he leaned back against the sofa, choosing silence. However, the visible veins on the back of his hands betrayed his evident distress. The air was thick with the aroma of coffee bean pheromones, and I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. When Xiao Yi glanced my way, I blinked innocently and asked, "What's wrong, brother? Do you need assistance?" Xiao Yi, unable to endure any longer, loosened his tie and gestured towards the door. "Get out. What will you do tonight, then? That's none of your concern." After a brief silence, I chuckled softly. "True, you're not fond of me in that way." I dialed Su Zixuan's number. "Su Zixuan, Xiao Yi is in heat." Su Zixuan's voice brimmed with smugness. "What? Has he regretted so soon? Perhaps you should suggest he finds a man on the street to relieve himself. I doubt a homeless person would turn him away." Shen Yi whispered, "Senior, is that really a good idea?"
Su Yisun scoffed.
"Do I truly know if he wants to break up? Even if he is in heat, who would want to be with him?" With a beep, the call ended. I leisurely asked, "Brother, do you genuinely not want my help?" There was no response. "It's merely a temporary marking. It's no trouble." Xiao Yi looked at me, his breathing becoming increasingly labored, yet he remained silent. In the prolonged silence, I gradually grasped his stubbornness. I nodded, "Very well." I turned, my hand resting on the doorknob, only to suddenly collide with a heated body behind me. Xiao Yi grasped me tightly, burying his nose against the edge of my gland, inhaling deeply in a frenzy. Before I had even enrolled in the music academy, I had once changed violin teachers. That day, my usually elegant and poised instructor collapsed onto the floor, dazed, kneeling at my feet, pleading for my mark. Subsequently, the teacher was dismissed. My mother informed me that my pheromones were akin to that of a mandrake, a toxic flower that, when inhaled for too long, quickens the heartbeat and induces hallucinations, ensnaring one in an ecstasy that is inescapable. As clothing gradually scattered across the floor, I unabashedly surveyed Xiao Ye's physique, marveling, "Brother, your body is stunning." Xiao Yi was the most seductive man I had ever encountered. His abdominal muscles were perfectly defined, and his chest was full and taut. Coupled with his typically fierce demeanor, whenever he donned a suit, he exuded an aura reminiscent of a dapper thug. "Brother, Su Zixuan doesn't fancy your type, but I do." I cupped his face, which was busy nuzzling against me, and asked playfully, "Do you want it?" His response was to forcefully pin me down. "Stop talking. Come here." The moment his teeth pierced my gland, Xiao Ye's pupils dilated, and he was soon engulfed by an overwhelming desire. His hands trembled as he recklessly tugged at my clothing. Just then, the previously indifferent Su Zixuan called, "Xiao Yi, you've blocked me? I am well aware of your situation. After all these years without alleviation, the effect of the suppressants must be negligible by now. Would it kill you to be a bit submissive?" I chuckled softly at his words, not bothering to mask the volume of my laughter. Su Zixuan caught it, and his tone instantly shifted. "Is someone with you? Where are you? Speak up."
Xiao Ye.
"Where are you?" Unfortunately, Xiao Yi was entirely focused on me at that moment, becoming impatient and urging me to hang up the call. After all, attending to the matter at hand was paramount. The ensuing moments felt interminable. A certain forceful individual nearly dismantled the bed, while my mind was consumed with thoughts of Xiao Yi's fervor, his vigor, and the sheer thrill he brought. In the throes of exquisite pleasure, my chest constricted painfully, making it increasingly difficult to breathe, excitement triggering an asthma attack. Xiao Yi paused, then covered my mouth with his palm to ease my rapid breaths. "Feeling unwell again? I'll take it slow." With misty eyes, I gazed at him, laughter bubbling uncontrollably from my throat. "Hee." Xiao Yi pressed down, puzzled. "What is so funny? Stop laughing and hold your breath." In the sweltering summer of my sophomore year, I collapsed at the school gate, gasping for air in a desperate fit of coughing. Bystanders looked on in shock, yet none dared to approach. Just then, Xiao Yi, who had been escorting Su Zixuan back to school, spotted me. He effortlessly scooped me up and strode towards the infirmary with long strides. At that moment, I lay against his robust back, inhaling the faint scent of coffee bean wafting from the nape of his neck, thinking, "Why isn't he mine? I want him to be mine." When I opened my eyes the next day, the space beside me was empty. Despite being in Xiao Ye's home, the owner was nowhere to be found. A glance at the slippers on the floor and the discarded tie revealed signs of his hasty departure. Turning my head, I noticed a neat stack of cash on the bedside table. To demonstrate his sincerity, Xiao Yi had even placed a gold watch atop the pile. I was at a loss for words. I carried my violin to Shangju in search of Xiao Yi. He exuded a distinct air of a local thug, yet he was a magnate in the real estate industry. However, according to my research, he had indeed risen through the ranks of the underground world in his early years. Thus, even after achieving success, he still bore the remnants of his past. He maintained a group of subordinates in bars under his name. Upon seeing me, a scruffy-haired man at the entrance shouted, "Boss, that pretty boy from TT is back." I peered through the glass door, only to see Xiao Yi visibly stiffen at the bar. In a flurry of panic, he bolted through the back door, all within a mere 3 seconds. The scruffy-haired man appeared flustered, scratching his head awkwardly. Our boss ISNT here. Maybe you could come back another time?" "No need," I replied coolly. "Please relay a message for me. Tomorrow evening at 7. I'll be waiting for him at the back street of the school. Please let him know. No matter if he comes or not, I will wait indefinitely." Upon returning to the dormitory, I chanced upon Su Zixuan attempting to call Xiao Yi. He had used his roommate's phone to dial multiple times, yet none connected. Frustrated, Su Zixuan cursed under his breath before turning to me. "Ruinja, didn't you go looking for Xiao Yi yesterday? Did you see him with anyone?" "I didn't." "Really? Then why didn't you answer my calls?" With a stoic expression, I placed my violin case on the table. "I was out having fun and didn't hear them." Su Zixuan pondered for a moment, his expression softening. I knew it. He was just trying to provoke me last night. Now that he is not answering, he is merely playing hard to get, waiting for me to seek him out. I've never encountered someone so dramatic. I climbed into bed and swiftly drew the curtains. "Don't speak a word," I retorted. "You're being quite bothersome." Su Zixuan was taken aback. He shouted from below, returning with such a cold demeanor, "Who upset you?" I donned my headphones, choosing to ignore him. The following day, I arrived at the designated meeting spot, awaiting the arrival of someone. The weather forecast had predicted rain, a fact I was aware of, yet I still neglected to bring an umbrella. From 7 until 9, I stood there, drenched in the relentless downpour, my expression as blank as a canvas, completely soaked. My health had always been frail. After 2 hours in the rain, my body temperature had plummeted. I understood that a fever would soon set in, but I remained steadfast in my belief that Xiaoyi would come. Have you lost your mind? At precisely 10 o'clock, Xiaoyi appeared before me, wielding an umbrella. He unleashed a torrent of curses. Are you out of your mind? What were you planning to do if I hadn't shown up? Stand here and get drenched? In the next moment, he caught sight of what I held in my hand, and his words evaporated. I raised the modest little pendant and, in a muted voice, said, "This is the safety charm you asked Su Zixuan for last year." He deemed it useless and tossed it in the trash, but I retrieved it and have kept it ever since. It's time to return it to you. Raindrops cascaded from my fingertips, soaking the charm thoroughly. Xiao Ye's pupils widened in shock as he took the pendant from me, his expression a complex mix of emotions. Why? Why are you doing this? I merely gazed at him, my drenched figure conveying my feelings. Brother, does my affection seem unbearable to you? I initially chose to befriend Su Zixuan solely to draw closer to you. Xiao Yi was utterly bewildered, as if confronted with an epic dilemma. His handsome, rugged features contorted in disbelief. He reached into his pocket for a cigarette, only to realize the moment wasn't right, awkwardly placing it back. What on earth is happening? Consequently, my expression turned completely stoic. Nothing is happening. Forget the words I uttered in bed. Consider them as the ramblings of a confused mind, brother. I turned to leave. What? He instinctively reached out, but I walked away briskly, and he merely brushed against the hem of my clothing. Ruinxia, he called, his voice tinged with urgency. I did not look back. That night, I succumbed to a fever at 10 o'clock. I did not take a fever reducer until 6 in the morning. My fragile constitution left me bedridden for 3 days and nights. Unable to use my phone or answer calls, I was unaware that Xiaoyi had come to school searching for me every day. Ugh, here we go again. Su Zixuan entered the dormitory, carrying a bag of snacks. He smugly proclaimed, I knew that old man wouldn't last long and would come crawling back to me. Lin Zhe, one of our dorm mates, inquired while engrossed in a game, Xiaoyi, didn't you break up with him? Su Zixuan replied, I intended to, but he insists on clinging to me. What can I do? Lin Zhe remarked, oh, I thought you were with someone else like that vocalist Shani. Su Zixuan faltered momentarily but didn't refute it. Instead, he waved the plastic bag. These snacks are from Shani. Want some? Both of his roommates declined. Su Zixuan then lifted my bed curtain and lectured, Ruinxia, you're too fragile. A mere cold keeps you bedridden for 3 days. It's because you're from a wealthy family and have been spoiled. If it were me, pill would have me right as rain. I slowly shifted my gaze to him. Did you just say Xiao Yi came looking for you? Su Zixuan adopted a callous demeanor and replied, he did, but I ignored him. I said I would leave him hanging for a while. I closed my eyes as my phone rang again on the table. Su Zixuan glanced at it and suddenly chuckled. Look at that. Yes, found your phone while searching for me. He casually answered the call. Xiao Yi, are you annoying or what? There was a moment of silence before Xiao Yi's deep voice resonated through the phone. Where's Ruinxia? Su Zixuan sarcastically responded. Don't bother looking for Ruinxia. He has been bedridden with a fever for 3 days. Too busy to relay your messages. Just say what you need. Xiao Ye's voice escalated in intensity. What? He has been sick for 3 days. Su Zixuan frowned, about to say more. I, however, had no desire to continue listening to their exchange. I snatched the phone from him and pressed it to my ear. Xiao Yi called out a few times, and my nose inexplicably tinged with emotion. In a hoarse voice, I said, I despise you. On the other end, Xiao Yi paused, his breath suddenly heavy. Ruinxia, I despise you. After uttering those 4 words, I hung up. Once I recovered, I resumed attending classes. Having not left the school for several days, I found my rosin for violin maintenance had run out, necessitating a trip outside. Upon exiting the school gates, I encountered a group of burly men clad in black, seemingly congregated for some illicit purpose. One of them, a blonde, spotted me and leaped up in excitement, shouting, Damn, we finally found you. He swiftly grabbed my arm. Brother, I call you brother, so please stop playing hard to get. Our boss is on the verge of a breakdown because of you. He can't eat or sleep, suddenly waking up to lament his fate, making us wait here just to see you. Please, brother, if you don't stop, our boss will lose his mind. I merely replied, "Oh, what does that have to do with me?" and turned to leave. After a leisurely round of shopping, I returned only to be unexpectedly pulled into an alley. Standing before me was a sharply dressed man with slicked back hair, as if he had just concluded a business deal. "I've called you countless times and sent numerous messages, yet you never respond." Yaoi demanded, "What must I do for you to acknowledge me?" I lowered my gaze, refusing to meet his eyes. What would it change if I did? I fell ill and you still cling to Su Zixuan. I no longer wish to have feelings for you. Xiaoye's eyes widened, and he launched into a tirade. Who the hell is clinging to him? Did Su Zixuan say that? Damn it, I'm not involved with him. I merely tolerate him because he's younger. If someone else had the audacity to betray me, I'd have dealt with them decisively. My mood lightened slightly, though not entirely. I remained indifferent. I understand. I'll be on my way. Xiaoyi, bewildered, pulled me back against the wall. What do you mean? If you don't like me, then don't seek me out. Xiaoyi appeared agitated. You don't know me well enough to say you like me. Can we at least be friends? It's all right. It's clear that you don't care for me enough, and I understand. As I began to walk away, Xiaoye's Adam's apple bobbed. He exclaimed, all right, I'll do whatever you want. Doesn't T-brother know what I want? I returned his gaze, slowly advancing step by step. I don't wish to pressure you. I simply like you too much. This is the first time I've felt this way about someone. Will you promise me? Meeting my eyes, Xiaoyi swallowed hard, awkwardly turning his head away, his tone stammering. All right, let us give it a try. Our first date took place at an upscale mall. He gestured toward the endless array of luxury goods and said, choose whatever you desire. Thus, I concluded that Xiaoyi had never experienced genuine love. I meticulously selected a men's watch and paid for it myself. Subsequently, in the midst of Xiaoye's astonished gaze, I personally adorned his wrist with it. I've exhausted my allowance for this month. Next time, I'll treat you to the finest, I declared. Xiaoyi stood speechless, his expression slightly intoxicated. With a grand wave of his hand, he turned to the sales associate and commanded, wrap up all the watches he just looked at. I grasped his arm and asked, huh? What are you doing? I don't know, Xiaoyi replied, furrowing his brow. I just feel an overwhelming urge to spend on you. That one do. If you spend so much on me, I'll feel heartache. I pressed a kiss on his cheek, gazing at him with a sweet smile. If you wish to express your gratitude, this is all that is required. The tea was rather potent. The next day, Xiaoyi donated over 100 air conditioners to the school, merely because I had casually mentioned that the classrooms were stifling, which had caused me to break out in a rash. Upon returning to the dormitory, I found Su Zixuan surrounded by his roommates, basking in their praises. Impressive. Now we all benefit from your fortune. The big shot donated over 100 air conditioners just to win you over. Su Ji's achievements are remarkable.
Su Yisun Fei Gen Non Chan.
Waving his hand dismissively. Ah, my charm is just too great. What can I say? I entered with a smile and casually inquired, are you sure he donated for you? Su Zixuan replied, what else? You didn't see how anxious he was when I left him hanging for so long. I responded, well, as long as you're happy. Of course I'm happy. When he comes to school again, I wouldn't mind making amends. Su Zixuan was brimming with pride. This is what they call a slap followed by a sweet date. Brothers, take note. I merely smiled in silence. Xiaoyi would indeed come, but only to seek me out. On Saturday, Xiaoyi arrived in a Maybach to pick me up. We spent the day on a date. In the afternoon, he returned me to school, and seemingly reluctant to part, called me back after I had taken a few steps and kissed me through the car window. See you tomorrow, big brother. Xiaoye's gaze was fervent as he used the term of endearment I had taught him earlier, saying, ahem, see you tomorrow, darling. As I walked back to the dorm, contemplating the arrangements for tomorrow, Su Zixuan suddenly burst forth and punched me. Runja, what the hell? How dare you steal my person? I regained my bearings from the sudden dizziness and wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth, smiling. What can I say? That night, Brother Xiao pleaded for my help. How could I turn a blind eye? Once marked, one must take responsibility. Su Zixuan's face contorted in anger. He lunged at me more fiercely, only to be restrained by Shen Yi. Su Gu, don't act rashly. Fighting will get you penalized. Shen Yi turned to scold me. Runja, do you have any shame? Su Gu considers you a brother, and you dare to play the third wheel. I innocently replied, but only those who are unloved are the third wheel. Brother Xiao loves me dearly. Su Zixuan's face flushed red upon hearing this. I get it. You were the one who told Xiaoyi about Shen Yi's birthday, weren't you? Don't stop me. I'm going to beat this useless fool to a pulp. Unfortunately, as soon as his hand touched my collar, he was sent flying by a kick. Xiaoyi anxiously cradled my face, checking for injuries. Are you okay? Let us go. I'll take you to the hospital. Su Zixuan stumbled to his feet, his eyes red as he shouted at Xiaoyi. Xiaoyi, I was just trying to make you jealous. How could you really seek someone else? He's just a green tea bitch, a hypocritical scoundrel. Are you sure you want to be with him? Are you certain you want to break up with me for this sickly wretch? Xiaoyi slapped him, sending him 3 meters back. I won't allow you to speak about him like that. Su Zixuan collapsed, spitting blood. Shen began to weep and rushed over, saying, I'm not a good person. Xiaoyi raised his hand once more, causing Shen to shrink back in fear. Xiaoyi paused for a moment, realizing this was a delicate situation, and instead only sent him a meter away. In the car, I leaned against Xiaoye's shoulder, feigning despondency, saying, I don't want to go to the hospital. Consequently, Xiaoyi took me home, personally applying medication to my wounds. After tending to my injuries, I continued to express my gloom. I don't want to return to the dormitory. Su Zixuan bullies me every day, and I can't fight back.
Xiaoyi,
Feeling distressed, immediately made a call, instructing his subordinates to deal with Su Zixuan the next day. Thus, it was only natural that I ended up staying at Xiaoye's house. I ended up staying for 2 months. Xiaoyi picked me up from school every day, flaunting his wealth with a variety of luxury cars. Over time, rumors began to circulate around the school. I heard he is secretly stealing someone else's partner because his roommate's girlfriend is wealthy. That Su Zixuan from the opera department is truly unfortunate, betrayed by such a person. One could easily surmise where the gossip originated. I was indifferent, for I was the one enjoying myself. After yet another passionate encounter, Xiaoyi embraced me, intoxicated by my pheromones. I pushed him away gently. No more biting my neck. My clothes can't conceal it. Xiaoyi mumbled an agreement, yet his head did not retreat. Just one more sip. You always make my waist sore. Next time I want to be on top. Upon hearing this, Xiaoyi paused and looked up at me. Wouldn't that mean you can't exert yourself? After being taught by me for so long, Xiaoyi had become a competent lover, though he still remained dominant in bed, disliking being overpowered. I stated, I'm going to withdraw from the dorm tomorrow and rent a place outside the school. Xiaoyi countered, why not just stay with me? I explained, that wouldn't be good. Su Zixuan keeps calling me a third wheel at school, and now my classmates are saying the same. Xiaoye's expression darkened as he sat up. Tomorrow I'll go warn him to keep his mouth shut. He was resolute and took action, swiftly dealing with Su Zixuan the following day. After handling him, Xiaoyi felt invigorated and urged me to pack my belongings and move. Having not returned to the dorm for a while, I found my desk in disarray, with my clothes torn in the closet. I assumed no one was there, but Su Zixuan unexpectedly opened the door and stepped in. Are you feeling rather pleased with yourself now? I turned to see Su Zixuan with a bruised lip and a sullen expression. You were once my devoted admirer, and now you're siding with him against me. You sickly wretch. Have you exhausted all your tricks of pretending to be weak and pitiful? He then forcefully threw a plastic bag at my face. If you enjoy pretending so much, I'll make you look the part. A cloud of yellow powder enveloped me, causing me to stagger backward. It dawned on me that this was a mixture of pollen and some other substance. Su Zixuan grinned with delight. Didn't you claim to be allergic to pollen to the point of death? Let us see if you truly will die. At that moment, Shen also entered the dormitory. Sugo, I've sent your roommates away. They won't be back for a while. Su Zixuan affectionately patted his head. Well done. Soon, the pollen triggered my asthma, and I began to cough violently, with alarming red rashes appearing on my skin. Shen smugly remarked, just so you know, I brought in that pollen. I can't stand seeing you bullied by others. Humph. I retreated in distress to the balcony, trembling as I fumbled for my inhaler. Su Zixuan was momentarily taken aback before rushing over to snatch the inhaler from me. However, I instinctively tossed the inhaler off the balcony. Su Zixuan lifted his gaze, staring at me in astonishment. Ahem, ahem. Ha ha ha. I chuckled, saying, you will regret this. 28. In my childhood, while other children frolicked outside, indulging in carefree play, I was confined to a room cluttered with intricate instruments, quietly gazing out the window, lost in thought. In the presence of their underdeveloped younger son, my parents chose to direct all their attention towards my elder brother. They would only visit me during their leisure time, briefly bestowing upon me their concern and affection before departing without a second glance. One day, drawn by a delightful fragrance, I extended my hand out the window and plucked a branch of osmanthus. I remained in a stupor for 3 days and nights. Upon awakening, I found my mother cradling me, her eyes swollen from tears, repeatedly calling, little treasure, little treasure. That time, she did not leave my side, instead remaining by my bedside for 2 full months. Thus, I came to understand, only the children who cry receive sweets. I have a fondness for sweets. Xiaoyi had begun to love me, but I yearned for more. 29. I could not recall how long I had been in a stupor. When I awoke, my brother was weeping beside my bed. How can you be so independent? Given a villa, you refuse to stay and instead squeeze into a dormitory, not allowing your brother to protect you in every way. Why are you so disobedient? The dignified president of a company was sobbing, his face smeared with tears and snot. I replied, "Get lost." My brother was taken aback and hurriedly summoned the doctor, concerned for my condition. Upon learning that I was no longer in danger, he sighed in relief, his tone grave. Mom fainted from fright and hasn't recovered yet. Dad is watching over her. The 2 who harmed you have already been apprehended. Don't be afraid, little treasure. Your brother is here for you. I blinked slowly and inquired, what about Xiaoyi? You mean the one who brought you to the hospital? He nearly went insane during your resuscitation. It was quite a commotion. Later, when I transferred you to a private hospital, he came as well, but I believe he is a dangerous individual and did not allow security to let him in. I fell into silence. 30. At this moment, the rain pattered outside, the air cool and damp. My brother stood up to close the window. Noticing something, he remarked, "Did you get into trouble, little treasure? But even if you did, it's fine." He returned to my bedside, holding my hand against his face, reassuringly stating, "I'll take care of it." I retaliated by slapping him. "That's my boyfriend. Let him in." My brother's face turned ashen. However, he returned later that night, tossing a stack of documents in front of me. "The family disapproves of you being with this person. What are the reasons?" My brother lamented. "The reason is that he is very dangerous. On the surface, he appears to be involved in real estate, but behind the scenes, he is entrenched in illicit enterprises. Do you have any idea how extensive his underground influence is? Moreover, with his build, he could easily kill you with a single punch. A pure, delicate, and beautiful person like you would have nowhere to cry if you were subjected to domestic violence. In short, I do not approve." 31. I had only one response. "I won't agree. From now on, I shall never speak to you again." My brother, with a darkened expression, slammed the door and left. In the middle of the night, Xiaoyi arrived. As I lay in a daze, I felt someone holding my hand and kissing it. "Your brother is right. It was my failure to protect you. I am unworthy of you. Only after being with you did I truly understand the essence of love. My life has been forever altered by you." My body still felt weak, and I kept my eyes shut, quietly listening to Xiaoyi's murmurs. "I went for a checkup today, and discovered that you were pregnant. About a month along. You are young, so even if you do not want it, it would be fine. I will raise it myself." I opened my eyes, startled into an upright position. "Show me the ultrasound report." Xiaoyi looked bewildered. "You're not asleep?" I repeated, "Show me the report." Xiaoyi scrutinized my expression, seemingly reassured that I did not appear to be repulsed, and handed me the report. I gazed at it in silence for 2 minutes before I could not help but say, "It must have happened that time." "Which time?" Xiaoyi asked. "The time we ate coffee beans." I remarked that it would have been nice if it had a milky taste. At that moment, Xiaoyi laughed, panting, and said it depended on whether I had the capability. It seems I did. 32. The first thing I did after being discharged from the hospital was to formally introduce Xiaoyi to my parents. Xiaoyi bluntly presented a list of betrothal gifts. "We can get engaged first. These are my sincere intentions." I glanced over it without clear comprehension, only noting that the first line mentioned a private island. Initially, my parents were opposed, but upon learning of Xiaoyi's pregnancy, their wariness of his complicated background dissipated. In the end, my mother beamed with joy, handing Xiaoyi a family heirloom jade. Since Ruanja has had health issues since childhood, I can rest easy knowing he has found such an exceptional partner. Upon hearing the news, my brother rushed back from the company that very night, crying out in anguish from downstairs, "Mom and Dad, have you lost your minds? How can my brother be with such a rough individual?" After a commotion, my father had to call security to escort him away. In the room, I rested my head on Xiaoyi's arm and asked, "Why didn't you tell me before you proposed? Are you unhappy?" Xiaoyi replied, "It was your brother who was anxious. He wanted to settle things with you sooner. Now that my brother has taken care of my affairs, what am I to do?" I offered Xiaoyi a faint smile. He seemed enchanted, leaning in to kiss me. Amidst our entwined lips, Xiaoyi quietly brought up another matter. "Su Zixuan claimed during the interrogation that you threw the pill bottle off the balcony." My expression faltered. Xiao Yi lifted his gaze, his pupils dark and intense. Is it true? I turned my head away, lowering my eyes and replied, what is my brother saying? I don't understand. Xiao Yi grasped my chin, urging me to meet his eyes again. That blonde said you are a green TBTCH. But no matter how I look at it, I just can't help but adore you, you little devil. Xiao Yi planted another kiss on my lips. Regardless of whether it is true or not, I do not want you to harm yourself in any way. I just want you to know that if you do not get hurt, I will also feel pain for you. If you do not cry, I will also give you sweets. 33. Su Zixuan's family came looking for me. However, at that time I was preoccupied with my final exam repertoire, so I did not meet them. Without receiving an apology letter and with my brother hiring a prestigious lawyer, it was no surprise that they were sentenced to 3 years. I heard they were imprisoned in the same facility, thus becoming a pure prison couple. Enough said. Best wishes. 34. When Xiao Yi was 4 months pregnant, we held a grand wedding in England. We did not obtain a marriage certificate as I was still a year shy of the legal age. We planned to rectify that once we graduated. During the wedding, a minor incident occurred. My brother was inconsolable, and not to mention, the elderly priest mistook Xiao Yi for a groom and me for a bride. The guests whispered amongst themselves, indeed, it's the first time I've seen such a tall and robust bride. Run's second son has always resembled a beautiful doll, so it's not surprising he was mistaken. But the priest smiled kindly, saying, the most unconventional couple in the world, and the most unconventional, how could you not be a match made in heaven? Indeed, I lowered my gaze as I placed the ring on Xiao Ye's finger. Xiao Yi and Ruinjia were indeed a match made in heaven. Epilogue. Together to the end. During the 9th month of Xiao Ye's pregnancy, Ruinjia had already begun to prepare the essentials for the confinement period, such as nursing pajamas and postpartum socks. He accumulated a considerable assortment of items, only for Xiao Yi to lie in bed for merely a day after giving birth. By the 3rd day, she could no longer remain idle. With a swift flick of her slippers and a tailored suit donned, she energetically set out to engage in business. Ruinjia, holding a warm, wind-proof maternity hat, gazed at the empty bed with a mix of confusion and disbelief. The child was a handsome little boy, affectionately named Tao Tao. From just a few months old, he was exceedingly lively. Whenever Ruinjia approached, the child would grasp his father's finger and beam with joy. In the early days, Xiao Yi had attempted breastfeeding but found it painful and was reluctant to continue, grimacing as she offered the baby formula instead. Consequently, the surplus milk found its way into his father's mouth. Fortunately, even on formula, the little one thrived, growing plump and fair, remarkably resembling Ruinjia and exhibiting the same robust health as Xiao Yi. 3 years into their marriage, the most anticipated part of Xiao Yi's day was returning home for dinner. Each evening, he would step through the door, wearied yet eager, and collapse into Ruinjia's arms, exclaiming, "Darling, let me catch a whiff of your pheromones." In response, Ruinjia would tenderly embrace his head, enveloping him in the rich fragrance of mandala flowers, creating an atmosphere of comfort that left Xiao Yi sighing contentedly, as if his very skin had been set free. Each morning, awakening to Ruinjia's serene visage, Xiao Yi constantly pondered the profound meaning of the phrase, the beauty of a husband, the glory of a wife. Ruinjia had achieved fame early on. His first concert after graduation catapulted him into the spotlight. Videos of him performing a D major violin concerto circulated widely online, showcasing the young man in a French-collared shirt, eyes closed as he caressed the strings, with glistening silver embroidery at his cuffs. Standing tall on stage, he was strikingly handsome, captivating all who beheld him. Marrying someone so exquisite and gentle was, in Xiao Ye's eyes, a testament to his ancestral virtue. On Ruinjia's 25th birthday, he had already established himself as a particularly renowned violinist. During the birthday celebration, his mother was suddenly overcome with emotion, tears streaming down her face. When you were a child, fortune tellers said you would not live past 25. To see you standing here today brings me the greatest joy, she confessed. Xiao Yi furrowed his brow, retorting, which charlatan made such a prediction? They were utterly mistaken. Yet, unbeknownst to them, that year indeed brought trials, as Ruinjia's public image inexplicably soured, inviting undue criticism. Detractors claimed he was merely a pretty face with no talent, branding him as the mouse droppings of the violin world and a foolish little violinist, inexplicably famous. Ruinjia dismissed these slanders with a smile, continuing to play his violin amidst the tranquility of life. However, while practicing one day, he unexpectedly coughed up blood. Ruinjia fell ill, prompting Xiao Yi to track down the online commenter who had cursed him. With a fierce demeanor, He interrupted the man's ribs with a single blow. If you dare utter another curse, I will ensure you meet your end. Afterward, Xiaoyi composed himself and approached Runge's bedside, gently caressing his face. Runge seized his wrist, murmuring, "I can smell blood." He gazed at Xiaoyi with quiet intensity. "Did I not advise against engaging in dangerous activities?" Xiaoyi replied, "If you recover quickly, I shall refrain from such actions." Runge's illness was severe this time. Although he often faced grave health issues, Xiaoyi harbored an unsettling premonition. Days later, the test results confirmed a malignant tumor, an incurable condition. Upon learning that the surgery success rate stood at a mere 30, Xiaoyi opted for conservative treatment. Over the course of a month, Runge's condition deteriorated rapidly, necessitating the use of a respirator. Xiaoyi exerted every effort, tirelessly seeking out various specialists, even sprouting a few gray hairs in the process, yet to no avail. The only remaining option was surgery. Xiaoyi perceived this as a punishment for having lived so recklessly in his early years, now being condemned to worry incessantly for the fragile and exquisite Runge, enduring anguish and turmoil. His love for Runge was consuming, driving him nearly to madness. On the eve of the surgery, Runge, who had been in a deep coma for an extended period, suddenly awoke. In agony, he coughed up blood, gripping Xiaoyi's hand tightly, insisting he had something to say. "After I die, you must not seek another." Viscous blood coated his pale neck, and for the first time, his visage transformed from that of Runge into a vengeful specter. "I may not be your first love, but I must be your last. You cannot seek another, nor remarry. If you do, I will haunt you as a ghost." Xiaoyi clutched his trembling hand, repeatedly reassuring him, "Fear not, I will never leave. What talk of death is this? If you were to die, I would retrieve a gun from the basement and resolve it myself." Runge shook his head, struggling to articulate, "No, there is Tao Tao. Tao Tao will inherit everything I leave him, but you cannot." Xiaoyi implored, "Darling, the road to the underworld is lonely. I cannot bear to let you embark on that journey alone. Pains me too deeply." Tears streamed from Runge's eyes, overflowing in abundance. Xiaoyi collapsed against him, his shoulders trembling. "Runge, before you, I had never experienced what it truly meant to be loved or to feel my heart race. Thus you are my first love. Darling, do not be afraid. In this lifetime, I shall love only you." The surgery lasted all night. As dawn broke, Runge's family began preparations for his potential departure. Xiaoyi sat alone in a chair, motionless as if he had become a statue. At 6 in the morning, the surgical doors finally swung open. Xiaoyi heard footsteps emerging one after another. "Please notify the family members." The specialist, drenched in sweat, removed his mask and announced, "Fortunately, the surgery was a success." The 25-year ordeal had passed. Gradually, everything began to improve. Runge never suffered another serious illness after turning 26, and even his asthma attacks became infrequent. Yet, Xiaoyi would often awaken in a panic, clutching Runge tightly to ensure he still breathed. "Did you have another nightmare?" Runge would turn and embrace him, tenderly patting Xiaoyi's back, soothingly whispering, "Do not fear, I am always here." Thus, Xiaoyi would drift back into dreams infused with the scent of mandala flowers. In the years that followed, they embraced each night as they fell asleep together. A decade, 2 decades passed, and the once ailing soul gradually regained strength. They traversed countless seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter together, living a life of harmony and joy thereafter. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the story, please consider subscribing and liking to show your support. Until next time, farewell.